In this video tutorial, we're going to go over the steps for recording a voiceover track that you would use in a news package. When you've got the full script written, you record the reporter's voice portion of the script, and you put that into your Premiere project. So we got to get a good clean recording of that. So let me show you a few things I do first to prep before I make the recording. Let's go back to Premiere Pro, and I have my book signing project back open. And you may have noticed that I have already created a bin for voiceover tracks. Any voiceover recordings will go in this bin or folder. I've already got my B-roll organized, my sequence bin, and so forth. So I've got this new one for voiceover tracks. By this stage, I've already looked at all my source footage. I've reviewed all the video of the event. I've looked at all my sound bites and my interviews, picked out our shots, our B-roll shots. You write it all up in a nice script. Now it's time to record the voice, so that's what we're going to do. And then in a moment, we'll get back to Premiere and bring in the voice track. We'll import it in. So let's get a recording first. By the way, if I want to minimize Premiere Pro, if I'm working on it, and if I've got another program going in the background, I can minimize this just with a quick Command-H, and it disappears. It doesn't close it, just disappears for a moment. And we're going to go to a program called Audacity. That's what I'm going to use to make my audio recording. And it pops up pretty quickly. This program is a free program. You can download it to a Windows PC or a Mac. It is also already running on the two audio computers we have in the newsroom. If you go down into the studio next to the news source set, those two booths, looks like Superman phone booth, they both have the Audacity software running on the Mac in there. So just open that up. A couple of things that you do want to check first. By the way, if you do put this on your own personal computer and you want to record your voice tracks that way, make sure you get a really good external microphone, a USB mic or a good quality mic you can plug into your computer that will record really good quality audio. You just don't talk into the computer's embedded built-in microphone. That won't cut it. Okay, so check a few things out. By default, it should open, and it should already be pointing to the microphone that is hooked up to the computer. In the audio booths, it'll have a different name than mine. This AK5370 is the one attached to my computer. You should see Samson CU1, I believe. Samson, S-A-M-S-O-N is the brand name. So look for that. And that's just beside the little microphone symbol. Check down here into the bottom corner. There's a box that says the project rate, and this is what we call the audio sample rate. It's at 48,000 hertz or 48 kilohertz. Make sure that you see that there. If it's not selected, drop down. If you see a different number, drop down and get 48,000 hertz and make sure that's on display. This means that the audio sample rate of your voice track will match the sample rate in Premiere that is the same as all your other video clips. All the sound you recorded with the camera, SOTS and NAT sound, that's all going to be coming in at 48,000 hertz. So we want the sample rates to match. That's the standard for pretty much any video or any audio you use in a video project. So we're all set up with Audacity, and it's a real simple program to use. You just look up here at the top, and I've got a couple of audio meters. I'll get those a little bit bigger. And this allows me to monitor my mic levels before I record, and then when I play back. So on the left side, these do the playback audio, and the one over here to the right shows the microphone. Now I've got my microphone hooked up, but we don't see anything happening. Why is that? Well, it's because I haven't turned it on. So all I have to do is just sort of right click and say start monitoring. Input level, click to monitor. Check, check, check. Okay, now it's giving me a volume level. And remember, -12 is a good area to have an average peak. So on occasion I will be louder than -12, right about there. And sometimes I'll be quieter, but that's where I want my average. That blue line is showing me the maximum peak, loudest I've been so far. I can tweak that a little bit if I've just got such a soft, faint voice. I can raise the input slider next to the microphone, jack that all the way up, now we're through the roof. That's too much. I would never go all the way up the scale. You should stay around 7 to 8. I think that's about what it's going to be set as in the booth already. So that's good. So that's just a quick way to make an adjustment. Again, I never want to peak at 0. Notice the blue line is there from when I push the volume all the way up, the input. I always want to be peaking. I don't ever want that blue line to get above this -6. I really want to stay in the -12 ballpark. That's my good average. Okay, let's pull back out a little bit. Now we're ready to start recording. We've got a good script in front of us. Rehearse it. Make sure you're well rehearsed and do some deep breathing. Get comfortable before you record your voice. You want to sound clear, confident, and authoritative, like you know what you're talking about. So remember all those vocal performance things we talked about. And I've got the script in front of me, and I'm just going to simply hit the record button, this red button here, and let's watch what happens. We're going to actually see the waveform and the track being plotted right before our eyes. So we see the little timeline indicator moving, and these are the pulses on the waveform plot. Everything looks really, really good. By the way, it's also telling us over here that it's a 48,000 hertz, a 32-bit audio track, and everything's moving along fine. We read the script as many times as we need to get a good, clean recording. And when you're done, just reach back up here to the yellow square, and that is the stop button. Stop it. And instead of trying to scroll or drag back to the beginning, I just hit the home key. Look on the keyboard for home, tap it, and it throws you back to the very beginning of the track. Let's check it, listen to it before we export it. Let's watch what happens. We're going to actually see the waveform and the track being plotted. Okay, so watch again my volume, and where do I peak? This is the playback recording. Let's watch what happens. We're going to actually see the waveform and the track being plotted right before our eyes. So we see the little timeline indicator move. Okay, there we go. I'm peaking right around -12 on average, sometimes louder, sometimes a little quieter. That's pretty good. I got a good recording out of this. Did you notice, by the way, when I recorded or tested the mic, we only saw left channel volume popping up and down. But as I play it back, we have an equal left and right. Watch what happens. We're going to actually see the... Okay, left and right. Because the system says it's a mono track, but we know it's one that we want to have equally in the left and right channel. It's like your left headphone and your right headphone, in each ear. So it's going to play back equally through both. And that's what we want, certainly. When we bring this into Premiere, it's going to work that way. So all I have to do is export it now. So I hit home back there, and I go back up to my choices, and Audacity gives me a couple of options. I just want to do a file export because I want to send this out as a clean audio track that's in a language or format that Premiere can work with. So I go to the export selection, and it says, first of all, what do you want to call it? And then it asks me, where do you want to put it? I'll call it Book Signing VO, because that's the project it goes with. And by default, it sort of went back to the last folder I had looked into, and I'll just trace back through my Premiere projects because I know that's where I want to put this. And by the way, when you go into the audio booth, if you leave the lab, the classroom, or the newsroom and you go down to the audio booth, if you eject your external hard drive to take with you down to the audio booth, all your media will go offline on your Premiere project. So if you've got a project on the computer in the lab, I would do this. If you're going to use your external hard drive to store the VO track, first close Premiere. Close what you've been editing, eject your drive properly, then take it down to the audio booth and plug it in and turn it on. Then after you do the Audacity recording, you export the voice track back to your external drive. Then you eject the drive from the booth computer, take it on back to the classroom lab, plug it back in, and then bring up your project. You could also do this. You do not need to take your external drive all the way down to the audio booth to save this recording. Just take a little USB flash drive. If you have just a little simple USB drive, you could run that down a little thumb drive, plug it into the computer in the lab or in the newsroom, make the voice recording in Audacity, send it back to your thumb drive, bring the thumb drive back to the lab, plug it in. You can still have your Adobe project open. And then just go to your thumb drive, your USB drive, and copy that audio exported file. Copy it back over to your main hard drive, your G mini drive. Put it back over there in the audio folder, and then you're all set. So you can sort of leave your main hard drive in the lab if you need to. At any rate, what I'm going to do is just export this back to my external hard drive, the one that has all the project files. And it's in my Premiere Projects, 2013. We're in June. We're in the book signing project. And remember, the folder structure here is built to mimic the workflow. We have one for audio sources. And this happens to be a voiceover track, so I want to click that folder, open it, and I'm going to have Audacity put this exported audio file right there. Now, what format do I pick? Good question. Well, at the top of the list is the AIFF. Apple works well with a Mac. It's a signed 16-bit audio file, so I want the AIFF. I could do a WAV, which is more of a Microsoft Windows audio format, or I could do an MPEG-3 export. But the AIFF will work great. We've got all Macs in the labs, and so that'll work perfectly, and Adobe will be able to handle it nicely. So I just have AIFF selected, and then when I hit save, it's going to ask me real quickly, do I want to enter a bunch of metadata, the name of the artist, the track? You can skip through this. You can just hit OK. This would relate to if I was doing like a radio show and I was mixing down a bunch of music inserts and commentary, and I wanted to, or if I were recutting some music tracks, I could then put some metadata about the music and the genre, you know, yada yada. I don't need that. I'll just hit OK. And within seconds, that was exported. So let's go back out. We can close Audacity now, or do this. I recommend if you think you might have to go back and re-record and you want to reopen this Audacity project, just like a Premiere project that you're editing, go to File, Save Project. It's going to warn you. It says, hey, now this is just an Audacity project file. This isn't exported audio. This is just the project data and information that you're going to save in a project that only Audacity can open. Are you okay with that? Sure, I'm okay. And I'm just going to save it right back into that same voiceover folder in my book signing project structure. There we are. There's the audio file, by the way, that I just exported, the AIFF. It's already there. And then this project file is also going to go there, and we'll call it book signing. It's going to be in a different format than the AIFF. There it goes. And we're all done. Now I can quit Audacity. And now we just jump back, or of course take the hard drive. I would have unplugged it from the audio booth, ejected it properly first, then unplugged it or turned it off. It's always eject, turn it off, unplug it. Bring it out back over to the computer I'm working on, and I go back to my Premiere project, or I plug the drive in, power it up, open up my project, and here I am. Back to the same thing I left off, an empty bin for VoiceOver. And you know the import process, we've gone over that. That's simple. I could go through the media browser and go find the file off of my drive. Or I could just do a right-click import, simple enough, and then trace back through all my folders. So I go back to my book signing in the month of June. There it is. And it's in that audio sources VO. Now, which one do you import? You don't want the Audacity project file. That's not going to help you at all. Adobe won't be able to handle that. You want the AIFF, this one right here. So click that, and that's the one that you're going to import. And there it is. What it does is it doesn't, again, it's just like it does with those video imports. When you do the media import, it creates a clip file, an audio clip file that is like an alias or a desktop reference that points to that audio AIFF recording back in my hard drive. So if I double click it, launch it in the source, notice it shows me the waveform. There's no video to show in the source window. Let's watch what happens. We're going to actually... So I'm playing it back now. You see the waveform and the track being plotted right before our eyes. So notice that, and also notice this. We'll go back down into this corner where we have the audio meter. We have the left channel and the right channel, and as we play that, you see the little timeline indicator moving, and these are the... We've got it perfect left and right. So it came in as a clean audio track. The volume's peaking right around -12. So you could use a little tweaking when I edit it, but that's ready to go right into the timeline as my audio voiceover track. So that's how we would get that recorded and then bring it into our Premiere project. So follow those steps carefully. The key is that you've got a well-written script first, of course. It all starts there. And then you get a good, clean, confident recording. Technically sound, good levels, good, clear delivery. Okay, so that's it. Go for it. Make good recordings.